Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the Vobes Show. Please take your seats in the most comfortable position you could possibly find yourself, and the show will commence. Thank you. We're starting the countdown clock now. Oh yeah, it's working, isn't it?
And so, ladies and gentlemen, on this lovely Friday evening, may I present to you the one and only Vobe Show. Well, good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to another exciting Vobie One-Eyed Kenobi Showbie with me, your host, the lovely Julia. What? Wait a minute. Hang on. I've just shaved all my hair off. No, I must be the lovely Vobie One-Eyed Kenobi. It's the 18th of September 2020, and yes, I've got a ruddy cold, ladies and gentlemen. So I may sneeze. I may. It's not coronavirus. It's just a head cold with dribbling nose and achoo, achoo. Reach for the hot lemon and honey. I hope you're very well out there in the Vobosphere, keeping yourselves nice and warm, hugged under a nice blanket with a hot water bottle and your feet in a bucket of warm, soapy water. That's how we will all be as the winter starts coming towards us. Because we all know, don't we? We've had such a lovely summer with all this sunshine and what have you. And as we get to winter, we're all going to pay for it. We're going to be shivering like this. The meters will be circling around incredibly fast. We'll be putting money into the machine to keep us nice and warm. It's going to be a nightmare. But don't panic, ladies and gentlemen, for at the Vobes household, we have logs arriving. Hopefully arriving tomorrow. And these logs, let me tell you, these logs will be arriving from the Whiston Estate. They are Whiston Estate logs, and they're going to be whisting their way over to me first thing in the morning. Ash logs. Timber! Hopefully seasoned, otherwise God help us, what will I do? Yes, they've all suffered with a bit of ash dieback, but don't worry, they're going to be ash burnt back very soon. Let's welcome to the Vobe Show all the lovely people who are standing by out there in the Vobosphere, getting ready to say some interesting comments and later on phone in. We have the wonderful Nigel Sadler. Hello to you, Mr. Nigel Sadler. Ernie Samet. Hello to you, Ernie Samet. We do have your videos, yes. I forgot to put them in last time. We have Omni Bridders. What's the start time, he says? A few seconds ago. Oh no, he's found it. Marvellous. And Connor's Dark Story Corner, even. I'm sure there's a dark story, but we won't go into that in today's show. Thank you. We also have Glastonbury Gabriel. Hello, matey. Robert Brailsford. Get off my land is down there. Jeff Kellison. Driving along with his new jacket, which he's sent to the Gabe, which will be in the post office. Lovely Judith is out there. Hello, Judith. Hope you're well. Josephine Suter, hello. It's time for the Vobie One-Eyed Kenobi Showbie, which is great. Thank you. Nice to see you there. Elaine Whitelock, good evening. Jackie Traynor, hello to you. Paul Smith, Days of Yore. Ron Langley, Ed Loud, Kerry Baldwin, the lovely Julia, of course. Stephen Agger, it says, hi Richard, thank you for showing my video on York on Wednesday's show. Try and talk slowly in the future videos. Hope you didn't take it personally. But yeah, just that is the one of the problems is that one can get a bit carried away. Of course, I'm talking relatively fast in the beginning of the show because that's just the way this works. But in an ideal world, one would slow down a little bit. But if I slow down now, you'll all fall asleep. So I can't have that. Can't have you all falling asleep. Don't worry. I'll make you fall asleep a little bit later. In between the exciting videos that we have 7 videos to end the week with, which is going to be superb. Who else have we got out there in the land of? Mike Stevens, same channel, same time, same Vobesy. Sorry about that, same bald head. Ernie's there. Evening, Julia. Evening, Julia, and the viewer. You've got Julia gets two views. Evening, Julia, Julia, and the viewers. Oh yes, that's because I'm the lovely Julia tonight. That's true. Yes, I've got it. You've got Julia's cold. Yes, I think I have. I've been round. You see, the thing is, I've been doing the Good Samaritan thing of helping Julia pick her children up from school. Well, her eldest son, Elijah. And, of course, what happens is, she's got a cold and you feel sorry for her, and out comes the violin. But silly old me says, I'll tell you what, I'll come round and feed me now. Probably it's a copyright strike now. And I'll take you to school and drop you off and you can pick up your son. In the meantime, little bits of lurgy come out and go, woohoo, woohoo. And, yes, I think I've got her cold. But hey-ho, never mind. And Andrew, somebody is not the one I was going to say. Alan Sandell says, good evening, greetings, folks. John F., hello to you. Ashes to ashes. Ah, bless. He's talking about my father, who's still on the shelf in the other room. Mike Stevens says, hope they don't have the green shiny green beetle in the ash. Oh, I hope not. Barry Hughes, good evening to you. Michael White, your Essie has a girlfriend called Cinders. Oh, don't. We're going to be going away. I don't want Essie and Cinders going to the ball. Who knows what we'll end up with? A little charcoal boy, if we're not careful. Or girl, of course. Rick M. Hello to you, Rick M. Ed Loud, Linda Kane, Andrew Murphy, Mike Flinders. It's all good to see you. Thank you so much for coming along on this Friday night. And what a lovely Friday night. So, yes, let me get the newsworthy stuff out of the way. We're all in lockdown. Oh, no, sorry, that wasn't it. Oh, my goodness, they're all getting worried, aren't they? We should have done what Sweden did. Never mind. What was I going to say? Oh, yes, that's right. The lovely Julia and I are going away on Sunday. We are escaping to another country. Well, actually, we won't be escaping to another country on Sunday, but on Monday we will. We'll be just in on the Brecon Beacons, somewhere high up in a funny old place. I can't tell you exactly where because I need to look it up. But anyway, it doesn't matter. We're going away. Now, I've got an interview with an important chap about farming, sustainable farming, Philip Holden, who is from the Sustainable Farming Trust, and is all into the mixed farming and fresh, keeping it local and all that sort of stuff. Been banging on about this for a while now, and I managed to get this interview. Couldn't go a few weeks ago. Rehashed it, definitely on. Going up there, we'll interview him on the Tuesday. However, going to see the lovely Fran and Rich on Monday, unless we're all feeling very rough on floating our boat. Hope to get a video, and of course, and bring it to you and all of that. And we'll vlog some of our stuff, and unfortunately, or fortunately, or for simplicity purposes, I will vlog a bit on the GoPro. I know recently you've seen me go, "No, GoPros!" Splosh, throwing them away and getting to work on the old gimbal and the mirrorless camera and a DSLR. I got mirrorless and a DSLR. Who knows? I probably got my SLR somewhere, my old Zenith SLR with the 35mm film. Not so good on a gimbal. Don't make any difference because it only takes snaps. Probably doesn't even work, and I probably actually could never find it. But anyway, it was one of my first cameras, and it had a nice lens on it, but only a cheap lens, so it's probably rubbish and probably won't fit on a Micro Four Thirds or the Canon whatever. Anyway, I'm just rambling now. My main thing is that we may or may not get videos out while we're away, so please forgive me if there's no videos. And the chances are there will be no Vobe shows on Monday. We'll be travelling Monday night, and we'll be getting into the B&B, and I think we'll both be absolutely knackered probably, and so Julia will have a baby to contend with. Luckily, I can slam the door and say, well, no, right then, Julia. Whew, bit of peace and quiet. Unless, of course, little... I nearly called him George then, that's my grandson. Unless little Joe starts going... And Julia goes, do you know what? You've been a bit like, a good uncle to Joe. Why don't you have him for the night? Oh, And then Julia gets a good night's sleep. We'll have to see. There's always the car. Yeah, Joe, in the car. There you go. You'll be all right. It's still warm. Then we can both get a good night's sleep, which would be good. Good night. Good night. You all right there? Good. Oh, he's set the car off. I left the key in. Imagine that, little Joe driving. Don't tell Julia. Oh, hang on. She's green with envy. Now, why is Julia green with envy? Yeah, nice little breakaway to see lovely Fran and Rich, she says, to be reminded of how to helm a narrowboat before the trip. Never mind the helming. I want to know how you open up the locks. Floating our boat is there. Hello to you. Looking forward to seeing you guys. Mike Stevens says, did you see Fran and Rich chased by around 40 young bulls? I did. Oh, my goodness. That was gruesome. And you could see the shock and the shivers. They were shaking like jelly. Whew, dear. Luckily, if once they were on their canal boat, at least the old bulls couldn't get to them. So that was good. But blimey, yeah, Julia and I had a good old discussion about that, actually, when I popped round earlier today to see her, to make sure that she was still in the land of the living, and saying, oi, about this cold you've got, would you like it back? You seem to have given it to me. Thank you. Oh, no, I don't want it. Anyway, well, it's, share and share alike, isn't it? Rick M says, I had a Zenith TTL, very heavy, solid camera. Yes, lovely old cameras, weren't they? Very lovely cameras. They were Russian, and they would have, you could have had the next ice age and they still would have worked. So that's all good. No videos. Well, I'll the horror of the humanity. Yeah, well, we will be back Wednesday late afternoon, probably, maybe early evening. So I doubt there'll be a Vogue show on the Wednesday as well. It's just an excuse to have time off. It's not like I don't really work terribly hard, as you know. I barely do anything, and all I do is I rinse the public for money, apparently. So somebody said to me, it was hilarious. Somebody said, Richard, all you do is you rinse the public for money. Rinse. And I thought, rinse it for money? I can't even rinse my hair. Thank you very much. Well, not the hair on my head, you understand, but under my arms. Yes, I can get a good lather up for that. We've got 7 videos, so we're not going to hang about in today's show. We're going to make sure we get some. So first of all, let's find out what's going on in the old video box today. And we've got 2 videos from lovely Ernie Sammett. Yes, Ernie has gone out to have a look at a tree. Now, I forget which one is which. I think this one is the one with the tree. And it surprised me because there's something about this tree. And didn't we see the same thing on Wednesday? Let's have a look and see what you make of it.
Hi, Richard and Julia. This oak tree, I was told this morning, is an evergreen, which is a first for me. Never heard of an oak tree that is. Here are the leaves. Very unusual. And down this undisturbed part of the front garden are remnants of the Victorian gate of 1857. I won't go any nearer, it's full of brambles, but we will clear all this. So just to not renovate, but to try and retain what was originally here. There are 2 oak trees. There you go.
Marvellous. Well, it must be a holm oak because, like Julia said, I don't know of another evergreen, although Mike Stevens says Asian oaks are evergreen. Are they? I've not seen or even heard of an Asian oak tree, but are they in Britain? Perhaps they are. What do you call them when they're from overseas? They're Oriental. Is it an Oriental? Oriental? Yeah, it must be an Oriental tree. Is it one of those? I would say that was a holm oak, Quercus, not Quercus, Ilex. What is it? Ocus ilex. Ilex, an ilex. Yeah, you know what I mean. Homo ilex. Help me out, Julia. What is the technical Greek, the Latin definition of it? It's like Quercus ilex. There you go. Marvellous. Thank you very much. Yes, lovely. How lovely. Is that in your garden? Did you say that's in your garden? And that Victorian gate, are you going to sort of get that back and bring it up to fruition, Ernie? Up to fruition. Are you going to restore it and so that you can hang a little gate on there from 1851 or whatever it is you said? How marvellous. That sounds brilliant. How lovely. Anyway, thank you very much for that. We loved the crunching of the leaves, which was superb. All good stuff. If anybody wants to give us a tinkle on the phones tonight, that would be great. If I can work out how to not play the opening yet again, then that is all good. 07934746790 is the old number to call if you so wish. We finished our book today, which was very pleasing, I have to say, The Lure of Sussex. We have a call. Let's find out who that is. Hello to you, lovely caller on the Vobes Show.
Good evening to you, lovely presenter. I thought I'd ring up first to save all the people betting's money.
Oh, yes, there we are. That's a good idea. How is life in Glastonbury?
Like very well, thank you. I just got back in from work today.
Oh, how was work?
Oh, you know, lots of spanners, lots of bits of bikes, that sort of thing.
Is the demand, tell me this now, is the demand for bicycles as great as it was when we got into the lockdown?
Yes.
Is it still great? Is it still, people are still going, I want to ride a bicycle?
Yeah, parts are in short supply because that initial batch of government vouchers is still being worked through by all the bike shops. They've not released a second batch yet, so. I'm
still waiting for this deluge of cyclists on the pop-up cycle lanes that we've been. It's everywhere. It's bloody everywhere. It's not just
I've
Worthing.
not seen any around here.
Have you not? Everywhere I go, there are these plastic barriers and people painting on the road. So I don't know that when they say pop up, this seems to be pretty permanent. Now, there is, over here we have these plastic little things they've screwed into the roads with this sort of whippy pole that's about a metre or so in height. And you get loads of them, which of course has stopped people from actually parking outside their houses now, because where they are, you can't get into there because now they've deemed that a cycle lane, so you can't actually park outside your house. And in Broadwater, there's a roundabout, and they put one a little bit too far out, and somebody has obviously hit this, and this mangled up thing is sticking out the ground, and it is actually quite. You have to really, jolt your car around to avoid that little lump. It's a pain. Anyway, that was that. Got that off our chest, didn't we? Thanks for your contribution on that. Oh, blimey. I don't know where we'd be without your contribution on that. But anyway, what's the latest? I looked in the video box and there's no video from you. I don't know. Did you die?
No. I was yesterday. I was shooting that one I was telling you about, the red brick building one. So that's quite a big one with interviews in it. So that's going to take a bit of work. So I expect by the time you're back this time next week, you'll have a samplet of that.
Oh, a nice samplet.
Yes, I did spend the time to send a little parcelette in your direction.
Oh, did you?
But not for you. Yes, it's care of you for the lovely Julia.
Oh, that's very kind of you. She'll be absolutely thrilled. Are they menthol?
Yes. They are not menthol, no.
Oh, because I could do with something menthol to make my nose, I mean, I don't care what it is. A menthol mouse would be all right. I could stick it up there to get rid of it. This morning it was going bright red, as a hooter. Bright red hooter. which is not
good.
good.
So you both caught something?
Yeah, well, it's all going round Worthing now because the kids have gone back to school. Everyone's got it. And you know what? We've all got it really quickly because we've all been locked up and our immune system is so empty because we've not been exposed to anything anymore. So therefore, we're going to catch things so much quicker.
What do you reckon about the second wave that's coming?
Well, I don't think there is a second wave. I think it's just a load of old panic. What we've only got about 3,000 people infected up and down the country. What's the population again? That's not really very many, is it?
No, but they are. The government are panicking, aren't they? I mean.
Well, I think they are panicking. I mean, I don't think they will lock it down because they can't afford. Can they afford to then, this time, we're going to lock it down and tell everyone to lock down, but we're not going to give you any furlough. So they're being very clever, aren't they? They're just locking down. The Midlands have been the most recent ones to be hit. Oh, yeah, you can't come out. You can't. None of you can come out to play, but there's no furlough for you.
Yeah. Same in the Northwest. The Northwest is being hit now as well with more lockdowns and stuff.
Well, I can't wait.
And Liverpool and all around there, Merseyside.
It's terrible, isn't it? It is. I don't know. You know, there was a chap they were interviewing on the Radio 4, which I thought, hello, they're actually interviewing somebody from a different perspective than the normal mainstream crap that you normally get. And he said one of the troubles is with all this sort of locking down and what have you, is that you're just suppressing something that we're all going to have to get rid of, and all you're doing is, as we get closer to winter, where there's more likely to be more people who are going to be having all sorts of other things, as well as potentially this, it's going to get worse. See, Sweden have been very clever. I listened to an interview with Andrew Neil. No, Andrew Neil from the who's been axed from the BBC because he was too good. Because they obviously they only want people who are just no good anymore.
Yeah, I like Andrew Neil. And
Andrew Neil now works for The Spectator, and The Spectator do a video service now, and he's done about 4 or 5 of these. He interviewed some head honcho from Sweden. I can't tell you who it is. The video's on YouTube. And he was saying, look, how come that you've done all right? And he said, well, we set up all our restrictions. But it wasn't a lockdown. We set up our restrictions, but we still kept industry going. And we haven't relaxed any of it. It's still just what we set up. But we won't get a second wave. And they've only got something like 3 people. I can't remember what the figure was, but it was some ridiculous figure that they've got who's actually in hospital as a result of it. And it's such minor numbers.
Yeah, but what they also probably mentioned is that the Swedish people all got behind it. There was none of the dissent. Oh, I'm not wearing a mask. I can't wear a mask like you get in this country. Everybody went along with it. That's the thing. For all these measures to work, it's no good if half of them decide, it doesn't affect me, I'm not going to do it anyway. It's one of those things, everybody's going to do it. And that, in Sweden, is what happened. That is the big difference. Same in New Zealand. Everybody got behind the government measures because the governments weren't a bunch of, I'm not going to say a rude word on your channel, but because the governments in those 2 countries are far more sensible, the country, the citizens, if you like, got behind them, and that's why it worked. In this country, we're full of entitled people who think it doesn't apply to them, so they're not going to do it. So if one doesn't do it, then you might as well nobody do it. That's the problem.
You could say that I am one of those entitled people who's not going to do it. But that aside, and I put my hand up there because I'm not convinced by everything. However, the thing about Sweden is they implemented their things and they didn't vary it. They said, that's it, that's what we're doing. Bang.
Exactly.
Whereas our government's flipped here, there, it's changed its tune. It's 1 minute it's this, and we're going to have that, and we'll have the track and trace. Oh no, we're going to use a different app. No, that's not work. And they've just been, so that no wonder people don't have trust because it's just there's no consistency.
The whole thing is just contradictory as well. Well, you can have no more than 6 people meet together, but you can go down the pub.
Yeah, exactly. So it's like it's just all over the place. Anyway, let's not dwell on that. I don't want to upset the viewers.
No, let's not dwell on that. Let's talk about something funky. Like you going away next week. I'm jealous as hell.
Yes,
what's coming?
We are going away, and it's nice because we haven't been away. The last time we went away
Just before lockdown, isn't it?
Just before lockdown. That was the beginning of a whole series of exciting things. We were going to come over to see you and a whole load of other things. And we had one night in a Airbnb in Hampshire, and we were going to do the the Wessex trackways and the hangars and all that, the zigzag path over there and all that. And we had I think we were only going away for 3 nights or something. It wasn't anything terribly, because we had little Joseph and what have you, and the corona was sort of, are they going a lot? No, it's not that. They're not going to lock us up, are they? No. And then one night, the following night was, I'm sorry, everyone's in lockdown. You've got to come home. It's like, oh, okay. So yes, so this is great. And then we have a week back here. Then we go away on our canal boat. Then probably the week after that, may well be heading off again up to north of Harrogate to pick up the van.
The van.
And Julia's mum has very kindly offered to drive me up there. And Julia said, well, if you're going up there, I'm coming.
I'm going. Yeah, absolutely. We could have a little walk around Harrogate. Fascinating place.
It's lovely. I've been to Harrogate many times.
Yeah, I like Harrogate. Very posh.
Very posh. What's the name of that tea rooms? Betty somebody or other.
Betty's. Sweaty Betty's, I call it. It's probably not the proper name for it.
Yeah, I can't remember now.
There's a few of them up there. They're up in the north. There's these, and they still wear the white aprons and the black skirts and all that sort of thing.
Good for them.
Yeah.
Well, we're getting loads.
I hope, by the way, just touch the subject before I bugger off, but you didn't mind my comment on your video yesterday. I wrote it, and then I looked back at it half an hour later, and I thought, you know what? I'm teaching my granny to suck eggs here.
No. It was very interesting what you were saying. I can't remember exactly what you said now. Something about you use a gimbal and blah 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 blah. The thing that made me laugh was, and it was said with the best intentions. I'd been filming, and you know what it's like. Yeah. We all have whatever gear we have, and you go, I'm going to test something out, and I'm going to try it with what I've got. And what I had was a lens that isn't yet quite wide enough. That's not to say that I can adjust that particular lens, but until I buy another lens, it's not quite wide enough. So it's quite close on me.
What lens were you using?
That's it's a micro 3/3 lens, and it's I think it's 16 to 35 or something.
Okay, yeah.
So I've been looking at other lenses that are sort of like 7 to 35 or 7 to 16 or something, I think, actually, something like that. I can't remember. And that would give me a bit more wider. So I don't want it too wide, because what I don't like is when it gets too wide, it gets fisheye and your hands turn into little funny things flipping about like on a GoPro and all of that nonsense. Yeah. I take your point. Oh, yeah, that reminds me of what you said. I take your point about having a small camera which you can run to. Yes, the gimbal is a right old pain. I don't like gimbals generally, but I love the fact that your horizon is level. And
that's why I have my action camera on one.
And I don't understand, action cameras, because you're just wibbling them about and they just don't get level. And you get the C6 stuff.
And you can a action camera, you can gimbal for under 75 quid.
Yes, no, absolutely, yes, you can. Again, it's just that gimbals are cumbersome. They're when you could just have it on a stick and you can just go dink. Oh, I'm standing out here. Look round here. That's great, and I think it's okay for if you're in a sort of in and out of buses and up and down stairs and round the corner, and you're doing a lot of moving in and out of places, and it's very sort of shaky camera over the shoulder type stuff. I think that's fine. Because
well, I've seen your stick when we worked together.
Yeah.
My little action cam is a gimbal. It's a GH5, Feiyu Tech GH5. It's the same size, if not slightly smaller than your stick, and it's really good. But what I was going to say was, and then I will clear off because there's other people and I'm boring everybody now. But lenses, the lens that I use on my GH5, I've got the Panasonic 12 to 45, which apparently is the go-to lens on the camera. But what I would recommend, rather than going for the zoom, because I'm on the same journey as you, buying lenses for these things at the moment, is there's a lens, and it's a single focal length, 7.5, but it's an equirectangular, so you get the width, you don't get the fisheye. and if you're on a gimbal, it's light. There's no focusing issues because it's so wide, and you don't get the bending. And there's a lot of people out there using these little things. I will send you a link to it so you can have a look at some YouTube videos yourself.
Brilliant. Thank you very much.
Because I was looking, there's like the Olympus zoom lens, and there's a couple of Panasonic ones around about that thing. And basically, everybody's saying this is better. It's nice and wide. It's 2.8, so it doesn't get darker. Some of them get darker, and you don't get any of the issues. And of course, it's nice and light on a gimbal. Because I think is that a Ronin you're rocking there? Is that not light? Are they?
Yeah, no, it's a Ronin RC. It's a DJI.
Yeah, I've got the June Weevil S, which is slightly lighter, but it's still a big chunky thing. And I find when I put that in front of people, it kind of like. What's that? Whereas a little camera, you don't get that. Anyway, I'm going to clear off.
Yep, okay.
Love you and leave you.
Take care.
And hopefully that will come before you go away.
Fantastic. Look forward to it.
Talk soon.
Talk soon. Nice to talk to you, Glastonbury, Gabriel.
And give my love to the guys on the boat, won't you?
Yeah, I will. They're watching now.
Okay. Hi, guys. Bye.
Bye. The guys on the boat. Is what he said. The guys on the boat. Right, okay. That's Glastonbury Gabriel. Sorry about the intense technical talk, but some people get something in that. Micro Four Thirds. I wonder what the future is for Micro Four Thirds. Anybody got an opinion on that who's a photographer? Robert Croser said, free speech, otherwise get a receipt. I'm not sure what that's all about. I'm always offending people with my comments, but I just roll with it, says Mark Selwood. Good for you. COVID is very intelligent. It doesn't attack if you're a hunter. Oh, is that a truism? I under the canvas, says Mark Donny McLeod. This is the Camera Club part of the show, says Mike Stevens, but the Camera Club is now shut. And I told my optician he was giving me a lovely bokeh, he said. There we go. And Ernie Sammett says, Richard, yes, our front garden would be great if anyone can shed light on our oak trees, though I'm asking around locally. Gate allegedly Victorian, not sure. How old is the house? That's the question that we want to know. How interesting. Right, it's time to go back into... Now, what have we got here? Let me tell you, we've got some interesting videos. We're going to go straight into Connor, who is saving some trees.
Hi Richard, just a quick video from me today. I'm over at a field I like to walk on, and I've noticed this area's got a lot of, this is kind of a bigger one to what I'm trying to show, but there's a lot of baby trees around here, but some of them are really struggling, and anyone out here who wants to help, or if you're just on a walk and you see little trees, I know this is me technically removing a plant, but it's just grass, it doesn't matter. The problem with the field I'm at is they don't like to maintain the trees. So, like for example, right there's a huge dead tree, and there's quite a few. You've got another one over there. So what I'm doing is I'm just going around trying to help all these little trees out. Just trying to stop the grass from overpowering the land. So there's now this dirt area around the tree, which will hopefully give the tree a bit more room to spread out and hopefully thrive and turn into those tall trees there. But as you can see, I've got a lot of area to cover, but nobody bothers to maintain it, as I said, so that's what I'm doing. Got another one back here. But you can see sort of how overgrown all the grass is. I know some people won't like the fact I'm ripping up grass, but grass will seed itself. The tree needs help. So yeah, I'm going to do this for a while and then head back and watch the Vobes show, which is on as we're watching this. So I guess I've already seen you tonight. Back to the show.
Yes, that's a strange little anomaly, isn't it? There you are, you're already watching the show, and yet you were somehow simultaneously out in the countryside pulling up grass. It's a weird freak of nature, that, but only you can understand it better than anyone because you had the additional outdoor experience. Anyway, yeah, how exciting is that, saving those trees? Although looking at the state of the second tree you went to, it looks like it is pretty okay to take care of itself. It's such a little bits of grass. Is that couch grass? I was reading in George Henderson's book, The Farming Ladder, written in the early mid-30s, I think it was. Originally, it went into about 8 or 9 editions fairly rapidly and was an influence to a lot of farmers. Anyway, I was reading about that and he was talking about couch grass, and I've heard Mr. Suggett talk about couch grass, and his allotment is full of this grass, and he says, I don't know how to get rid of it. I have to keep pulling it up. And George Henderson, back in 1930, whenever it was, said, well, what he did was he continually ploughed it into the ground. He would just plough it, 6 weeks later, plough it again, 6 weeks later, plough it again. Now, I know there's a lot of people saying, oh, you shouldn't plough the fields. But he managed to get crops up and very efficiently. He then left it, and it seemed to be right. He said, you've got to plough it about 6 times, and by which time it kills out all the roots. So, in other words, yeah, pull it up about 6 times over the first 6 months of the year, and you'll be all right. So it's a lot of work there for you, Connor. But lovely. How lovely is that? Now, tall trees, were they Lombardy poplars? They looked a bit like Lombardy poplars from the angle that I saw them, but I couldn't tell you. We've got another call. Let's find out who that lovely other call is on the show. Hello to you, caller, calling in on the show. Lovely to have you.
London calling.
London calling. London calling. How are you, London?
Is that the couch grass helpline?
Yes, we would like some helch. Helch? We would like some helch. Have you got any helch? A nice bottle of helch would go down quite nicely.
Sean here.
Yes, Sean James Cameron on the, what are you today? The allotment channel, lifestyle channel, the change my name each week channel?
Just Sean James Cameron, simple as.
Simple as channel, fantastic.
I've been away all week, so I'm just catching up with the videos and everything.
Goodness gracious, what have you been up to? Have you been on holiday?
Well, I've been working for that company that we don't mention the name of.
Oh, yes, we don't want to mention them. And I no longer pay them a license, so I don't...
Well, you're not paying my wage for them.
No, that's right. Not paying your wage, mate. So, yeah, so couch grass, is George Henderson right?
Well, we would normally tell people that you've got to get every inch of it out, because even if you leave a centimetre in, it will come back.
Yes.
As a new plant. So it's very interesting that he's had to dig it in. So
he dug it in, but he dug it in like, about 4, 5, 6 times over the year, because he's leaving the field to go fallow or whatever. Yeah. And he just said, that you keep just bringing the roots up, and eventually they will die off. But it was, that was in the 1930s.
If you collect the couch grass and the white roots, the roots of it, you can put it into a black bag, put a few holes in it, and in 6 months' time you get nice compost from it. Ah,
that's very good. We the other day I inadvertently had left about a month or so ago some stuff that I'd pulled out of Julia's kitchen garden, in the wheelbarrow, and I left it there. And of course we've had rain and what have you. And I went back to it a couple of weeks ago, or last week I think it was, and I looked in the wheelbarrow and there was this slurry of this sort of liquid stuff. Anyway, I thought...
Did it smell as well?
It stank. So I tipped it up like that, and for the whole afternoon, well, the time I was there, which was about an hour after that, having a cup of tea and some soup and stuff, the wind was blowing in the wrong direction. So he just got this stench, absolute stench. But I dare say it's good stuff, is it?
I haven't actually tried it on anything, but I've got one at the moment. And a friend of mine came over the other week and decided just to move the wheelbarrow a foot or two to get out of the way. And he realised why I hadn't touched it.
very. I mean, you know, and the last thing you want to do is get a splash of that on you, because you, especially if you've got to get on a train or anything like that.
But the one thing I've been telling people this year to deal with the couch grass, and it's from a video that somebody called Richard Vobes put up on the internet.
Oh yeah, I've heard of him.
And that is to grow some. And let me see if I get this right now. Yellow rattle.
Yellow rattle.
Yes.
Yes, that's right. Yellow rattle. I think they did a song about it, didn't they? Yellow rattle, yellow rattle, yellow rattle. Yeah. Anyway, I don't think the song.
And it's very interesting that because I was told many years ago that a researcher from the BBC, from BBC Gardener's World, I was curious why everybody that I had interviewed on my YouTube channel then appeared on their channel. And she said, "Oh, that's because we watch your videos and we just take some notes."
Yeah, pinch your guests.
Yeah. And so I thought, I wonder if they've done that again this year, because you did the wildflower feature. I then did a video where I mentioned your video, and then 3 weeks later they did exactly the same item. And they mentioned yellow rattle, and I thought they've been watching our bloody videos.
Yes. Yeah. Well, you see, they don't have to do any research, do they? They just sit in the office. They haven't got time to go out and do and learn anything. And the resource is there. They just go on YouTube and go, yeah, that's a great idea. We'll just, reword it, get some images. Do you know, I this is a word of truth. A TV company got in touch with me, one of these sort of, tiny, a bloke in a broom cupboard TV company, because now anybody can have a TV company. You don't have to have premises or anything. And I got it. Somebody got in touch with me and they said, I made a video around Burpham. It's just said Burpham? No, not Burpham. Bosham, down at Bosham, which is just below Chichester and stuff. And it's a lovely little video. And I did a series of about 6 or 7, I can't remember now, of what I called armchair videos, or armchair walks. And it was just a POV, a point of view of the camera going along as if it was you walking. Slow TV was basically the sort of thing. And
don't mention slow TV. I'll tell you about slow TV now after you've told me.
Okay. So anyway, I did this thing, and this guy got in touch with me, and he said, we're doing a feature on Bosham, and we just need to show a bit of footage there. We've noticed you've got a YouTube channel, blah, blah, blah. Can we use a few seconds of it? So at least they got in touch with me and they said, can you?
And how much did you offer? Because
they didn't offer anything. They weren't going to pay anything.
No, but for up to 30 seconds, I know that ITV, for 30 seconds, it can be anything from about £180 to £250.
Right. Well,
and that does it. And even if they just use 3 seconds, they have to pay for 30 seconds worth.
Do they? Oh, that's interesting. Well, they didn't offer any money, and I didn't suppose for a minute, because every now and again I get these strange inquiries from TV companies, and in the end I just said, "Oh, just take what you want. I'm really not bothered."
Did they say, "We'll give you a credit. We'll give you a platform"?
They said, "How do you want to be credited?" I just said, "Oh, just say thanks very much to the Bald Explorer for the wonderful piece of footage that you have nicked from my YouTube channel." They're not going to do that. I don't suppose I'll ever see the programme, and it doesn't really matter. But it's just curious, because what it meant was they couldn't be asked to go down there and do the footage themselves.
Yeah.
And I just think that's the same with the research now, is that researchers, probably nobody's actually been trained in any research. They've been on a media course, which basically says if you want to find out anything, look on YouTube and nick their material. And that's really how it goes. So tell me your story on slow TV.
I contacted BBC 4 when it first started back in the day. And I said, this is quite strange, but when I put a video on my YouTube channel of me doing a bit of gardening, I don't talk to the camera whatsoever. I just do a bit of gardening. The views are quite good. And I'm calling it raw footage. Why don't you do something? And he just looked at me as if I'd gone into his house on Christmas Day and pooed on the floor. And he said, that will never be on TV. That's a ridiculous idea. 2 years ago, BBC 4 do something called Slow TV, where they broadcast 6 hours of a sleigh ride through Sweden.
Oh, yes. Well, before that,
another idea nicked.
Yeah, well, before that, to be fair, I mean, my slow TV thing was inspired a few years ago when Channel 4 put a camera on a narrowboat, quite famously.
Oh, right. Okay.
And they did a 2-hour journey, if I remember rightly. I can't remember where from. I don't know if Fran and Rich ever saw that. And it was, I think, just one view with the sounds for 2 hours. And it was, it must have been 10 years ago or something like that. And they called it Slow TV. And I remember watching that thinking, oh my God, there's no cuts, there's no pace, there's no story, that'll never go. And
well, there's a guy on the internet called Cruise in the Cut.
Yes.
And I've been saying to him for quite a few years to do the same. Just put the videos up. And he's going, nobody's going to sit down. Nobody's going to do that. Well, that's what he does now on a regular basis. So he'll put out his vlog, and then he'll put out another vlog like 3 days later of the entire 6-hour trip.
Mm. I did
put
start.
Put the camera on the front of the car and film your journey to Glastonbury.
Yeah, I know. I mean, the thing is though, when I started I made 6 or 7 of these armchair. I can't remember what I called them. Armchair walks. Originally, the idea was because I was looking after my dad who had dementia and he couldn't follow a story on the telly, but he liked looking at the telly, but he found it very frustrating. And then I realised that actually if you took him on a walk, on a video, and you just had one point of view, the story was what's round the corner, what's coming up, what's over that hill, what's through that doorway, what's down that passage. And I thought, and that held his attention. And I had this idea of selling this concept to all the care homes to say, bung this on your big telly instead of putting on some morning television, which is not geared for people whose minds are slowing down and can't concentrate. Put this, and I did have some interest, but it was just going to be, I'm not a business person. It's not my thing. I don't want to go around selling it and working it all out and make a fortune out of that. So I stopped it. I put some up online. Few people said, yeah, no, really great, love it. But I thought, but I don't want to do that. I don't want to just walk.
There is a YouTube channel called First View, and it's amazing that he's got a gimbal and he'll walk from Oxford Street to Blackfriars. Yeah. Exactly the same thing. He'll just walk. And it gets about 100,000 views.
Well, I've seen another guy who walked. He'll be walking in Peru, and he'll be walking in all these different countries, and you hear the sound, and he's just has to walk for a couple of hours, and it is this. And I just thought, I don't want to do that. I come from editing and filming and making a story and having something to say and having a point. And I thought, I don't want to do what anybody else can do. Just stick a camera on a gimbal and just walk. That's, anybody can do that. And so in the end, it's not it's not, even if you could make a fortune out of it, for me, it's not about making the money. It's about being creative and enjoying.
I feel quite jealous of these YouTubers that have no TV experience. Like, they'll walk into a supermarket, they'll whip out the camera, they'll film themselves, whereas my first thought is, right, well, I've got to get this cleared for the manager.
Well, I'm with you there. I'm
sort of, I've just caught Mrs. Jones, right, well, I better get her to sign a form.
Yes, yes. Well, I always think that somebody's going to come up from security and say, have you got a permit to film here? Because in the corporate days, we always had that problem that somebody would, we need to get clearance before we can get the camera out. And so, I still have inbuilt that guilt factor that I'm filming. Or when somebody talks to me, you see other people quickly whip their camera and point it at people. I'm very hesitant because they may not want to be filmed. And I don't want to film them unless I've got that permission. So there is that sort of due diligence that goes with it.
Well, I'll just tell you very quickly about the show that I've been working on with the BBC, because you will love it.
Will I?
It's good. Yes. you'll be there. You'll pay the license fee just to see this. It's going out Christmas Eve, and it's on BBC News 24, and it's a look back at 2020. And can you guess what the main story is?
Oh, hang on a minute. Wasn't there somebody was seen painting the zebra crossings the wrong colour? Where black was, they put white, and where white was, they put black. Was that the main story?
Exactly. And in fact, I will send you a copy so that you don't miss it.
Oh, thank you so much. I think I will have my own version of 2020, and as much as it can possibly.
The things we do to get a bit of money.
Yes, well, I won't be seeing me wearing my mask on any of my cameras or photographs or anything. I'm making sure that I do not
have you downloaded the? You can go onto the government website and you can download your own exemption pass, which is what I've done, and I've got it on my phone, and you just show it when you get on the bus, and they don't say a word.
But I don't even need that though, do you? Because you could just get on the bus and go.
Hello, mate. I have a ticket. I've got trouble breathing, mate.
I'm sure they'll say there's a bus coming next that'll be more suited to you, mate. Listen,
well, just be careful you don't get locked down in Wales because it just rains there.
Oh yeah, I'm not staying for long. I'm going to whiz in there, go and do my interview, and whiz straight out. Anyway, got to go.
I'm going to whiz
on.
off now because my phone is telling me we're coming up to 15 minutes.
Oh, well, blimey. Well, there we are. You get charged.
Speak to you later.
Take care. Bye-bye.
Bye.
There we are. That's the lovely Sean James Cameron with a bit of TV gossip for you, ladies and gentlemen. We have it all on this show. The diversity of this show is amazing. I may not change my skin colour, but we have a lot of diverse thoughts and content. Talking of that, Elfwold has been out and about. Where the hell has Elfwold been? Oh, he's been to Clapham. But wait a minute. Which Clapham has he been to? Nice viaduct there, Elfwold. Lovely scenery. Because I thought for a moment we were going to see, a number of trains going past, or of course, a bit of devil worship in the Worthing Clapham. But there was another Clapham, and there he is. Give him a clap. Fantastic. Lovely scenery. What a lovely place to go. How interesting. And from up there, you said you could see Morecambe Bay. Did you see the cockle pickers? Oh, no, of course not. They disappeared under the water, didn't they? Anyway, interesting, lovely, fantastic. Nigel Sadler sent me an email about trains, and he said it was so cheap to go, 43-something pounds to go to Harrogate. And I thought to myself, yeah, 5 hours on a train in a mask, no thank you, not on your Nelly. And then if I decide not to get the van for whatever reason, another 5 hours back, that's 86 quid. Don't think I'm paying that for all the tea in China. And anyway, we'll probably get an Airbnb, 3 rooms, Mum, Julia and Babe, me and another, and we'll go and make some videos and make it in something interesting. You're not going to get very many videos out of a train. Although I did get an email today. I think it was who was it? Who was it? Was it from Richard? I can't remember now. Somebody said he was on a train journey, looking out the window, thinking about landscape heritage and nature, and he said from the window on the train journey, it just looked really glum. It looked glum. All these utilitarian buildings and how how Britain was just beginning to look really dreadful. And that is a big shame. That is a big shame. And talking of England looking a bit dreadful, let me just play you this one, because I think this is going to be really interesting. It's Ernie again.
Hi, Richard. Found this book in the house that we moved into, and it's about the life of the rural village and hamlet up till the Second World War, and how the author predicts the demise of these little quaint places, which will slowly disappear with the advent of new developments. And as you can see, this was published in wartime, 1943. Here's the author. A brief explanation. And I'll just quickly go through the book, the relevant pages of all these prints, which are dated, and describing each place throughout England. I think generally on the southern part of England, from the Cotswolds down to the coast, of how things are and the threats of them disappearing. This house here is not too dissimilar to the house across the road we live in. How about that little village? A farmhouse, which probably costs over $1 million now. And funny enough, there are a couple of images of barns, which we all know probably be converted, and again cost hundreds of thousands of pounds, if not $1 million. Sad. So there you go. So it goes on, but in a positive, if not, I don't know, positive, no, not positive, in a sad way, because of what she predicts, and it slowly comes to fruition for what you're saying. And last but not least, as you can read, there you go.
How fantastic is that? I looked it up. It's about 10 quid for a copy of that book. So I shall look out for that, because I'd be fascinated to read her opinions on how her predictions. And then, of course, we can look back and know exactly what has happened to this world. Thank you so much, Ernie, for sharing that with us. Yeah, absolutely fascinating. Books like that are just wonderful time capsules of a time of an innocence. And it's interesting that there it was. I think the original print was in 1920, although that was a wartime one, as you said. When I looked it up, it said it was published originally something like 1920 or even earlier. And it's 100 years or less, and the changes that have happened in that time. And then you think the changes that had happened prior to that were a lot slower, much, much slower. And yet the technology and the advances, and I think this isn't good for human psyche, because we don't age quicker. We still age at the same age. And the rate of change, I don't think, is a good thing. I'm not saying change is bad. Change is good. But there is something about things evolving instead of just going bang, 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 change. I mean, look how we buy things, that everything now is marketed to us. I'm surprised that fashion, that people will buy their white goods, aren't they? And pay now for for your thing, and it's not expected to last. Whereas in the old days, things were. I mean, we talked about that Zenith camera. Those cameras would still work today. The mechanism, you could drop them off a cliff and they would work. Things have that obsolescence built in, which is dreadful. Let's have a look at some of the comments. I've lost my mouse. Not the cursor this time, actually the mouse. We got a phone call, so let's go to the phones and find out who that is. Hello, caller. Welcome to the show.
Hello there, Richard. It's Ed Loud.
Ed Loud, how the devil... I know, squidgy and what have you. So, I'm not going to ask. What can I do for you?
Well, I've just got to the point where you're talking about the rate of change, and that pulled all my heartstrings, being a Londoner. It was... That's the biggest thing London suffers from. The whole country's changing, but people are always having a pop at London, but London suffers a lot, and there's not many Londoners left in London.
Well, I think
the rate of change.
John Cleese. John Cleese said that London wasn't London anymore.
No, definitely not. Definitely not.
And it so happened, as I was cooking my vegetables today, I watched Peter Whittle challenge your mayor of London, who wants to obliterate the British history, because and somebody suggested that Nelson's column should be something for the axe.
Not another one.
And all these things are being, and he said, well, wait a minute, I don't think, you seem a bit biased to change the history. Nobody seems to give a monkeys to our history up there in London, and our statues and our things. And they want to, apparently that mayor, I can't even bring myself to bring his name to mind.
I'm with you there.
He wants to change the street names because a minority of people might be upset for it who were never here when these names were put in. And now that they're living here, it's like, oh, well, actually, it doesn't fit with our culture, a culture from somewhere else. It's like, well, okay, over time.
I think all these ancient heroes from the long gone past had their faults. And if you look at any nations, any society's heroes, they will have their dark side if we judge them by today's standards. But everyone's a product of their time, and it doesn't matter if you're... I mean, look at the pyramids. I think it might have been you the other day who was saying, the pyramids were built by slaves. We don't knock the pyramids down. Somebody said that to me.
Knock the pyramids down?
Yeah, well, they were built by slaves, weren't they? So, I mean, if we're going to sort of say, well, this person owned slaves and this person was against votes for women, I mean, everything would be gone, wouldn't it? Because everyone's a product of their times. But certainly, I feel on a small scale, which is a big scale to me, London desperately suffers. I remember being a kid, and my granddad's an old, he's from sort of the East Lane area of London, for those who know London, and he's me and him used to go to a Woolwich market, and then we'd have a pie and mash, and and everybody knew each other. But now, I mean, I'm only 31, and I feel like I'm ancient. There used to be 8 pie and mash shops within walking distance of where I live, and now there's 2 in my short lifetime. And that was a real London thing, and it's gone.
Yes, I know. There's no Cockneys, apparently, in London anymore. Cockneys, they've all moved out. Nigel Sadler says the pyramids were not built by slaves.
Well, definitely in the history I learned, a lot of them were built by slaves, but I wasn't there to see it, and Nigel Sadler's wiser than me, so he might be right.
Well, I'd be interested to know who he suggests did build it. It certainly wasn't Wimpy. Wimpy Homes, or even Barrett. Maybe it was Barrett because they could land that helicopter of theirs on the top. I don't suppose you remember Barrett Homes and people waving at helicopters. Quite what the helicopter had to do with bloody homes, new builds and things. I have no idea.
Anyway, I'd better let you get on with the show because I know you've got 9,999 videos to get through tonight, being a Friday. So, yeah, I just wanted to comment on the pace of change. I'm not against change. Just slow it down a little bit.
Slow it down a lot?
Yeah. All right, you take care, Richard. Bye.
Yeah, you take care. Look after yourself.
You too, bye.
Bye-bye. There we are. Ed Loud commenting on the pace of change. Quite right. Patrick Allen, that's right. Barrett Homes. Barrett Homes. Get yourself a nice new Barrett home. I imagine Barrett Homes were probably a far, far more substantial homes back then in the 70s, as much as they were pretty horrible then, than the cardboard homes that are being shoved up now. I'm waiting for Nigel Sadler. He's not come back. He's not come back to tell us who built... It's all very well saying the pyramids were not built by slaves. Who were they built by then? Who were they built by? Robert Cross is saying limestone pavement. Oh, here we go. That was the common assumption simply because it was a big job. The pyramids were built by the same principles as Stonehenge. How do you know? How do you know that they were built by the same principles? Aren't they? I think they were the pretty similar times, if I remember rightly. But we don't really know how they built the principles of stone. I mean, it's supposition, isn't it? It's supposition because there's no... You're more likely to have the hieroglyphics that would tell you... the hieroglyphics would tell you about the pyramids. But Stonehenge, there isn't any textbooks other than what people guess. Connor says if we abolish for stuff found in times of slavery, we could redo the government to be better by not hiring certain people. I'm surprised Vobes allowed this too much wind. What are you on about? I think Robert Cross is talking about something that happened last week. Some say the pyramids were built by extraterrestrials. Well, I'm sure they do. Some people. Ribblehead, says Robert Croser. Are you on a different time zone? Oh, maybe he's on catch up. I guess you can watch if you start watching the show late. You could actually be half an hour behind everything and still comment, couldn't you? I didn't realise that, which is a bit of a flaw. So that's interesting. Teams of families, says Nigel Sadler, were required to pay some kind of tribute. So they travelled to the site and worked there for a month or so. So many people... I want to know how you know that. Far too complicated to explain in 200 characters. It does make you sound like you know too much. And, we don't know that. We don't know that. I'm late. I'm watching at twice the speed until it catches up, says Sean James Cameron. Oh, my God. Twice the speed of the Vobes? That's too much. Daisy Orr says it's a time trammeler. If only John Pertwee was here, we could ask him. He was a Doctor Who, the only sensible Doctor Who there ever was. And he would have been able to take us back in the TARDIS and see for ourselves. Nigel says, oh, shut up then. No, don't shut up. Don't shut up. But you know, it's one of those things that how do you know? How do you know? I mean, it might be what some professor reckons, but how do you know? Nigel says I was absorbing with your knowledge. Oh, there we are. Ed Loud was absorbed, so we're all absolved. Let's put another video on. That's usually the way to get out of foot in mouth disease here. If I can remember how to do it. One of these buttons here.
Hi, Richard. Found this book in the house that we moved into, and it's about...
And that wasn't the video we were going to put on. Who we got? We've got Richard McGowan. He consults notes quickly. Richard McGowan has been to Western Lakeland, which is very delightful.
Down below is part of the Coast to Coast path that runs from St Bees in the west to Robin Hood's Bay in the east in Yorkshire. It's the walking path, not the cycling path, because that one runs from Whitehaven. And we're actually down on the path that we could see from up on top of the fell up there. That's where we were before. Somebody's actually wrote on the rocks the signposting the way on the Coast to Coast path, so you can see when you're approaching it from down the west.
There we go. How about that? Fantastic. Thank you so much, Richard. That looks wonderful. It's a place that I would love to go and hike about and make some videos. And it looks like you had good weather as well. And a lovely mushroom to finish off with. I don't know whether it's an edible mushroom, but I hope you didn't eat it, just in case. Yeah, Nigel, I see that there's a sort of debate going on in there, which is great to see. Always nice to have a bit of controversy on this show, or controversy, whichever one it is. What I was asking is, not how do you know it? How do they know that is what happened? Where does the supposition come from? I know, it's easy to say, well, the archaeological record, but what does that mean? How do they work that out, that the families paid a tribute and went and put a block up there, and why? That's what I mean. How do you know, or how is it that the books that you read, how are they ring? It's probably the best, isn't it? Give us a call. 0794 478 494 443 221 130 49687. That's probably the answer that I was looking for. Super views around those parts, says Mark Selwood. Absolutely fantastic views, very nice. Elfwold was thinking of going on a camping up there and that weekend, but I thought about it too long. The weekend comes and weekend goes, I guess. Rick M says, I've never chanced eating mushrooms. No, I've got a couple of books now on mushrooms, he says, glancing up, but it's so difficult to know whether you've got the right thing or the wrong thing, if you're me, that I wouldn't chance it either. All are edible at least once, says Andrew Norris. Yes, well, it doesn't really make them edible. I mean, okay, you can eat them, but they eat them edible to the point where it's not going to affect you, because you could say that anything was edible if you can ram it down your throat somehow. Oni Bride says, I feel Nigel's frustration in this debate. Let's move on. Where's Nigel's frustration? Correct. The slaves probably worked in the fields and provided the resources to feed and house the workers. But that's the point. The question was, how do we know that? Because it's almost the unknowable, isn't it? Because there's nobody wrote it down. Or was that in the hieroglyphics? Ed Loud says, well, at least we agree they had slaves. So the point still stands. If we knock down all the statues, why not knock down the pharaoh's statues? Well, exactly, yes. Sean James Cameron says, are you still getting veg boxes? At the moment, I'm not still getting veg boxes. I've only had that one box. I'm going to be away over the next month, and I need to sort my life out back in the veg box world. And I'm going to try out their competitors. What are they called? Abel and Cole or something? I'm sure they're all much of a niceness. But yeah, I know that Mark English has bought some veg boxes, and a couple of people have bought veg boxes. So from Riverfords, very nice veg, I have to say. The problem I have is storing the veg. The vegetables just seem to go off very quickly. Robert says they were artisans, Nigel, skilled workers, not like you see on the biblical epics with Charlton Heston's. Abel and Cole, yes, that's right. I used to write for Abel and Co. Oh, how interesting. Yeah, well, that's it. Right, let's... hang on, Mike Stevens says, do you knock down the Imperial Palace in Beijing, China, all built by slaves? Yeah, we could knock that one down. You could never understand why they wanted articles on how to grow potatoes when they sold them. No, they won't, Ed. Read it up. What does that mean? Where's my mouse? Get rid of that. Thank you very much. We won't have any of that telling people what to do. Read it up in capital letters. We'll have none of that. Right, let's go and have a look. Where are we doing on the time? We better just run through the last... how many have we got? We've got 2 more videos, so we better get through those. So I'll just come back here. Oh, turn my camera off. It is time, ladies and gentlemen, for... Let me see. Where is it? There we go. I think we'll have a moment of Murphy to lift the spirits.
Hi everyone, welcome back to another Moment of Murphy with me, Andrew Murphy. Today it is Saturday the 12th of September 2020 and I thought I'd come and have a circular walk between Old Winchester Hill and Salt Hill. Let's go! The hill you can see in front of you is called Henwood Hill. I have now left the crossroads as you've seen previously and now I'm heading along the South Downs Way right in front of me up towards Salt Hill. Let's go! I found a little post box in the middle of nowhere. I have now come up the South Downs Way, as you can see behind me, and now I've arrived up on Salt Hill. I'm now going to head back on the South Downs Way past these communication masts. Let's go! With my little eye, something beginning with Trick Point. Right everyone, I'm now just leaving Salt Hill, as you can see behind me. I'm currently along the South Downs Way. I'm now going to head back westwards towards Old Winchester Hill. I would just like to thank you for your company, and until next time, bye for now.
And there it, you know, I thought for a moment my camera wasn't going to come on. And there he was, the lovely Andrew Murphy, with us, another moment of Murphy. And thank you so much, Andrew. You rang up the other day and said, I am going to send you one by the end of the week. And there it was, out in the countryside. How magnificent. Brilliant. Love to see it. Lots of jolly old walks out there. And it looks like we're all appreciating that. And I didn't quite catch where Salt Hill is. It's in Hampshire, isn't it? Or it's right on the border, somewhere around there. How lovely. But on the South Downs Way, we love the South Downs Way. Well, some of it goes through a lot of monoculture, in actual fact, which don't get me started on the monoculture road. Although I will be talking to Patrick Holden about monoculture from the Sustainable Farming Trust, or the Sustainable Food Trust, actually, is the proper title. I will be talking to him about the large farms and smaller farms and mixed farming, because that's very much something that he wants to promote. And one of the things that he was saying, as well as Graham Harvey, who used to advise on the Archers, is the only way we can change the type of food that we've got in the supermarkets, is by talking to the supermarkets, using our feet, by either not buying the stuff that isn't no minerals and nutrients, or asking them for local produce. And if enough people was to ask them for local produce, they would then start to get it, because they want to make money. And if enough people start saying, hey, can we have our cauliflowers not from all around the country, but within a 10-mile radius? And that's one of the ways that but you need everybody on board. I don't know how you swing that round. I mean, lots of little people like me saying things on YouTube to try and persuade people, but you need a mass exodus of people to make the supermarkets then have the dominant power that they do have to go back to the farms and say, actually, what we want really is, can you grow us some cauliflowers locally? And that would be great. People are talking about tea, which is very nice. You can get up early. Chamomile tea in the evening, and breakfast is the same as any green tea at any other time. I remember my mum always used to rub chamomile lotion, which was this sort of chalky lotion, if I remember, if I had cuts or bruises or stings and things. I just thought what she'd done is got some flour, dipped it in water, and was just sort of rolling it all round me, you know. She didn't put it on my head, obviously, because although I probably didn't have a lot of hair when I was small. Sean James Cameron says, I planted my cabbage and cauliflowers today. When will they be ready? How long do they take? How long does a cauliflower take to grow into something worthwhile? Earl Grey over here. That's lovely. I do like a bit of Earl Grey. Just drunk the tea bag in for 7 seconds. What tea bag is that, Nigel? Got any Earl? 7 seconds? According to Richard Smith from the Tea and the Sussex and Kent Tea and Coffee Company, people should be dunking their tea bags for a lot longer than 7 seconds. 7 seconds is barely enough time to do anything, unless the tea is so thin and small and inferior that because the whole point of it is to make it brew. That's what he said. Did someone say dominant? Yes, someone did say dominant. Are you getting all excited, Mark? Connor says Tesco value tea for me. Fair enough. Should I put the kettle on the Essie, says Nigel Sadler. Yes, please do. The Essie actually is probably not hot enough now. I've let it cool down. We've got enough hot water. I've dried my clothes. I've cooked my dinner. It is still quite warm. I don't need it on any longer. And I'm running out of wood, although my woodman, John, is coming tomorrow between 8 and 9 in the morning. So I've got to make sure I'm up and ready to brace him. So that's all cool. Julia is saying phone. What about the phone? I can't hear it ringing. We've got one more video to go. It's Adrian from TurboStream. And I don't know if this will play straight in. I think this is a continuation. Oh, this is down in Pembrokeshire. That's right. He has gone. He sent me a series of videos down in Pembrokeshire where he went for quite recently, and it's a lovely bit of countryside down there. I do like that bit of South Wales. I filmed a lot with the corporate videos around there and had to gather some of the views. And I remember them taking me to some of the castles and some of the scenery, the coastal path down there and all of that. Absolutely gorgeous part of the world to film. So let's see what Adrian has been up to down in Pembrokeshire.
Well, we've arrived at Governor's Chapel. I don't know if you can see the roof there. And we've got some steps to go down. It's a bit in the shade. So it's an interesting little place. Let's go and have a look. There's another view of the sea there. Right, down the steps. Well, this is the entrance to the chapel. And you can see we're right down in the cliff. Well, this is the inside of the chapel. Lovely echo. Very dark in here. There's another entrance there. There's a little window up there. That's where we came in. Well, this is where you are. This is St Governor's Chapel. I say it's a bit dark because you need to catch it in the morning, but unfortunately we're not allowed down in the morning because it's a military area and they close the road. Well, that's a better look at it. Nobody knows how long it's been here or who built it. It is a very strange little thing. If you look 180 degrees, we'll see the sea. And then we can see the sea. You can see how steep the rock is. Sorry for the quality of the light, but we're in a deep shade. Wonderful rock formation there. Lovely. So we'll go back to the studio and the rest of the Vobes show. This is Adrian signing out from Pembrokeshire. And apparently you've got to count the steps on the way down and count them on the way up, and there's always a different number on the way down and on the way up.
How about that? That looks amazing. Absolutely stunning. Thank you so much, Adrian. Really interesting building down there. Nobody knows why or how or whatever. And Mark was fascinated. Mark Selwood was fascinating because he's down there on the coast. And I thought, oh yeah, he'll be there with his drone for about 4 hours in every nook and every crack. I'm only kidding, Mark. I'm only kidding. Yeah, how interesting. We've got some more from Adrian coming up, but we'll have to wait because there's no more Vobes shows until probably next Friday. Yeah, as I said at the beginning of the show, going to be away Monday and Wednesday, probably too knackered to do a show on Wednesday, a lot of travelling and what have you, probably get back too late. And so the next Vobes show will be on the Friday. So, yes, we are at the weekend. So, just to reiterate, the book, we finished the book. The new book coming up is The Sussex Peep Show, which is by Walter Wilkinson. I shall be reading that, but not this week. Not this week coming, the week after. So, join me again for that. I may change, for those that do watch that stuff, I may change the time. It may be a bit later. I may do it from 5 to 6 or something like that. Just that little bit later to give me an extra hour. But then the week, but I'll only be doing that for 1 week and then I'm away on the canal boat. But I'll keep you posted. It'll all be fun. So there we go. I think we've got everybody's in. I'm just checking. We saw from Ernie. We saw from Connor. We saw Elfwold. We had Richard McGowan. We had a moment of Murphy. And we had Adrian. So there we are. That was our 7 videos. Thank you so much for sending those in. Thank you for the phone calls. Absolutely lovely. Thanks for the controversy over slaves or family people buying stones. And thank you for all the lovely comments out there. And thank you for not being too outrageous in doing so. Take care. Have a wonderful rest of the evening, whatever you're doing, and have a great weekend. There may be some videos missing now on the regular thing as we disappear. I'll try and put stuff up as and when I can, keep you up to breast with everything. But in the meantime, look after yourselves and take care. And oh, hello, I've lost my camera. There it is. And I'll see you next time. Till then, let's play the opening one more time until I finally get myself an outro. That's how it goes. Thanks for watching. Bye-bye. Thank you so much for watching, ladies and gentlemen. If you could make your way out in an orderly fashion, that would be absolutely okie-cokey. Please leave your corona masks in the bin so that they can be handed to the next lot that come in. We do wash them once every 365 days. Thank you. Goodbye.